Good morning, this is Beaty-Coffey of the Ministry of Uncover No More. I want to talk about the concept of errant pride. Because when I say the word errant, E-R-R-A-N-T, I know what I think. In June of this year, 2023, I'm going to be quote-unquote a Christian for 50 years. I have 10 gorgeous children. They happen to be white-skinned. And in this day and age, what I have to say about skin color is it doesn't matter what skin color you are. Your heritage brings forth a shit literal ton of issues. Ancestral issues that muck up your everyday life literally in your head, much less the actual things that you go through. And I have a gorgeous person in my life, a friend in all capitals. Like we're talking, this person is worth, and see, I am speechless because worth doesn't belong in a conversation with or a surrounding or about real people who believe in universal love, who are universal love, who react regardless of what happened to them or what is happening to them in universal love. And universal love has a lot of emotions in it that Christianity and Catholicism and Islam do not teach, particularly women, but the men as well, is correct if you're going to get to heaven. When all this time, millions, thousands, hundreds of years, all this time, that wasn't the point. That wasn't the point of being created, quote unquote, in the image of God-S. God-S. Okay? Errant pride is wrapped up in what I just said. I had the painful responsibility to tell through text, explain to one of my oldest children who is an adult, so using the word children isn't even an accurate description of this beautiful person, why I never said I am proud of you for this accomplishment or that one. Because I am not into using errant pride phraseology. And I don't know what the reaction to that person in my life was. Because that is one thing texting shit, hard stuff, is good for. Because that person that I'm talking about is actually very empathetic and has been there and done that enough with humanity that if and when we ever need to discuss something, which isn't happening right now, period, because we needed distance, not because I don't even know if it's because of our relationship or if it's because of what's happened to the both of us, and there is still things going on in and around our relationship that is confusing to me anyway. So what I explained was, I'm never going to say that I am proud of you. And here's why. I never want any of my progeny to look to outside sources for inspiration. The inspiration for their entire life song is within them. It takes a sorceress, an evolutionist without the theory, the doctrine, a reincarnationist without the doctrine, a metaphysical balancer through exorcism. And no, I'm not a Catholic priest. They can go fuck themselves and get off my thought life discussion boards, so to speak, because I don't give a fucking rat's ass what anybody thinks about my opinions about bishops and priests of the Catholic Church and some of the nuns. Not all of them, but some of them. You are a mess. And we are still dealing with that fact. Fact! For thousands of years at least. You know, the one thing that we can do, regardless of if we're evolutionists, Scientologyists, Christians, atheists, agnostics, we can look at history. We can look at past history. Now, there's a shit ton of people that don't give a fuck and don't look at history to watch the news today, to listen to the news today, to read the news today. I'm going back to the point of, and I tried to do this years ago, you know, let's get the Sunday paper and let me just read a few articles of that, because the newspaper is better written, because those journalists, that's their job. So they're high quality writers. It's better written in any genre of opinion or fact than a lot of stuff on the internet, because you can just pop off a blog article in 2 seconds. But not if you're Errant Coffey of the Ministry of Uncovered no more, because my blog articles take like art and oracle and a lot of pontification about other people's writings as it pertains to the weaving of shystery. Love is love history, not anything else. My job description is all over the charts when it comes to weaving the real story of time at this point in my life. Keep in mind, you don't know, and a lot of times I don't, if the Savior of the world walks into wherever I am, including my own home, because he can do that unseen to anybody but my metaphysical eyes. So, you know, that's a mystery. And when people don't like my spirituality, what they do is just start saying, well, she's crazy. Well, weird is a better word. And I have another daughter who takes pride in the fact that people think that she and I are weird. It's like, that's fine. I consider that a compliment. But this is also the same daughter, not the child that I'm talking about where I had to explain, I'm never going to tell you that I'm proud of you for this accomplishment or that one. I am amazed. A lot of times I want to stop everything and celebrate milestones of my adult children. But I never got the time to do it, but I at least told them that's what I wanted to do. And then I get hit in the back of the head with, you said you were going to do it, and no, and you're disappointed it's because you didn't actually do it. Well, you know what? I am doing life with you. Feel positivity that I actually wanted to do it, because that means I did it. It's the heart intent that counts, bitch. And every parent wants to scream that sometimes when the children are misunderstanding intent of their heart because of the difficulty of the society we got drug up in, and that's the point of Errant Pride. We don't know what to take pride in our own cores anymore. We've had too much shit crammed down our lives at this point in history. That doesn't give us an excuse to shit all over the gorgeous history today's history of everybody around us. That doesn't give us an excuse. I will tell you exactly how old I am right here as a spiritualist. I'm 10. My Aunt Shirley was dying in my bedroom of brain cancer that my mama and my daddy took care of her through. My daddy baptized her into Christianity, proper Christianity, in the bathtub, but he didn't really need to do that. My Aunt Shirley is elect tribe Judah, and we don't need saving. We're the ones saving the world. We just don't always know it all the time, and everybody hates us, pretty much, across all of creation. However long you want to think that is, I don't give a shit. I do not give a shit about how long you think creation is. I'm sick and fucking tired of all the discussions and arguments and ins and outs of trying to prove things that it doesn't even matter anymore. We are we. As long as we're into universal love to shore up our gorgeous societies, not tear them down. And, you know, I just admitted last night, because the King of Kings himself on one of his many accounts asked a good question. And I simply answered with, well, you've been teaching me over the past 4 years, because I do watch what he says on Twitter. I don't always agree. And yes, I have actually, because of atomic collisions with the power of archangels, me being one of them and him being one of them, I've blocked some of his accounts before, but that's another thing I did this last weekend, is I openly asked forgiveness of one of his or his associates' accounts. Okay, so everybody can go fuck yourselves if you think that he and I are being held back in communication as just regular people on Twitter. But I thanked him for teaching me across 4 years that the Republican Party, the Christian conservative movement, the Catholic conservative movement, and all of that are fascists who have been planning what all has been happening since we had to deal with it, which would be the election cycle of 2016 that put a criminal in the White House, January of 2017. Okay, since that time, you know, there's a bunch of post-Republicans that are having to wake up to the fact that I was actually a part of a fascist movement. Okay, 20 years ago, I was 37. But here's the deal. God damn. People aren't doing well on the streets. Stop at a red light, please. Don't take advantage of the people on the main road. Anyway, but I'm here, that's 20 years, and according to the God Pod show, oh gosh, last year sometime or early this year, they interviewed somebody who was there 20 years ago when all of this fascist planning was going on to go through right to life, to hoodwink an entire millions of people, an entire generation or two or three of conservatives into a narrative that actually puts criminals in the White House who are fine with raping young women who are not yet physically adults. Sure, you can have your period at 10, 11, 12. No, you should not be getting pregnant. You shouldn't even be thinking about sexual love at the age of 10 as a boy or a girl. You should be playing out in the yard, learning what you should be learning for your life story and not dealing with being raped. But that whole idea that I just said is so far not in our society that, again, we have errant pride. We don't know what to be proud of ourselves in. Our self-images are so low because they have actually been so successful. But that is exactly where we are strong. Because honestly, I don't give a rat's ass how much education in the system you have or don't have. And neither does the king. That being said, get the education you need for what you're called to do is always in our mindset, he and I. Always. I'm choosing not to spend money to go back to school just so I can feel good about myself at the age of 57 for one fucking reason. The only reason to pay for your education is for a job. I'm 57. I'm not going to get one of those kind of jobs. But I sure am thankful when the doctor needed to unzip me and take my first kid out of my insides that man and my OB gynecologist was a black woman. But she wasn't the one that took the baby out because we were both gonna die. And so you see, there is no less worth in me and my ministry than that doctor that saved my daughter and I. There's no less worth for either of us. And this entire society does not believe me. You're still fucking children and getting away with it. So, you know, I have nothing to say to pretty much anybody. You talk the narrative of fascists around me, and I zone you out and go clean a toilet. And I am the one who am admitting to you that the king has multiple accounts. And I apologize to somebody who's either one of his accounts or an associate of his for blocking him. But another one of his accounts a year before had already said it. I don't care about blocking because he gets it. Because there are those of us that are shapeshifters, either in spirit or in flesh. There are those of us that are astral projectors in spirit and in flesh. I'm going to raise my hand in my Toyota this morning as I go pick up groceries for my family. I don't shapeshift that you can see. That doesn't mean I don't astral project to like France, Paris, France, in 2 seconds. This morning, I decided that it was best for a while, and it's probably going to be a long while, that I turn into Elizabeth Barrett on one of my Twitter. You go find it. Her story is so deeply gorgeous, I'm just going to become her for a while. But if you'll notice, I didn't say Elizabeth Barrett Browning. That's because the poetry booklet that I'm about to read, art, throw runes, and etc., she actually would not show it to him until after they had already eloped, because her father was one of those idiots. He would have been Quanon in this day and age. That's her father. So I just did that. Errant Pride is us, the real people that pay our bills and love our lives and see the value in so many places, regardless of how everybody treats us. Struggle to find our self-worth when it's already there. And we should just wake up proud of ourselves for every smile. That doesn't mean we don't have responsibilities today. That means we've been doing the best we could, and it is what it is today, and we're creating a better society that is heaven on earth. And that takes us all. There's the big duh. Let's try to forgive ourselves, 2023 and beyond, for being as gorgeous as we are, shall we? And for the rest of you, go to jail, leave us alone. But if you keep picking on us, when you pick up the gun and murder us in Dallas, Texas, we are we. We know the sacrifices we're making. And that is that. This is Beaty-Coffey of the Ministry of Uncovered.